Hello, so I'm on the Open Write page and I'm going to record my writing process today as a way to show access into my thinking and decision making to sort of demystify the process, but also to help you understand your own when you do this. So the Open Write has a collection of a couple hundred different poetry prompts. So I'm just going to go with the one today because I'm participating in the February Open Write and I want to write my poem for today. So I already clicked on today's prompt, Kitchen Ghosts, and I already read it. You can see there's already a bunch of poems here, but so Kitchen Ghosts with Glenda Funk. Glenda is a teacher, retired teacher actually, and you can read about her and her contributions. And today her prompt comes from the author and poet Crystal Wilkinson's. Glenda was inspired by Crystal Wilkinson's poetry and wanted to also feature or amplify her work for us and for other people who are doing some writing today. So I've read this prompt today, and I've also read the mentor poem. So Glenda reached out to Miss Wilkinson to make sure that she had permission to share her poem on this website because typically the poets have copyright. So this is the mentor poem for today, and also thinking about the prompt for today. So what Glenda is suggesting is that we use this prompt as a way of thinking about the ghosts who appear to us and the way we learn from and celebrate the lives of those who have passed. So this can be someone in your life who you have a personal connection to, and it could also be sort of someone who is a little bit more distant, a celebrity or something, or a historical figure who has passed as well. So if you don't want it to be terribly personal, those are some of the options there. That's kind of how I interpret it. So then I'm looking at Crystal Wilkinson's poem, Kitchen Ghosts. And I'll say that right away, I'm sort of relieved at the brevity of the poem. So it's 8 lines. And then I'll just read it, and then I'll tell you what sort of I noticed that is some things I might want to try today. So Kitchen Ghosts by Crystal Wilkinson. Sometimes the dead appear in my kitchen. I feel my grandmother's hand patting mine when I make cake. Her head shakes no when I don't add enough eggs or too much butter. Sometimes she laughs and claps when the yeast rolls rise. She cuts her eyes and sucks her teeth when my dress is too short. Sometimes the dead just stand in my office when the emails glare, when the boss needs one more report, when the words I write don't come. And so here's what I noticed is most of the lines are very similar in meter, so a similar number of syllables and length. So it offers kind of like a blank verse style to me. I also noticed that she used enjambment. So she will end the sentence with a period and then she'll start the next one, I feel, and then continue it on the next line. It's not in each one, but most of them do. So this kind of isn't finished, it ends over here. So the lines go into the next, so that's enjambment. Also pretty short sentences, they're all pretty simple sentences until the end when there's a subordinating clause here, and then it's repeated. When the boss needs one more, when the words I write don't come. So that's a nice repetition there with subordinating conjunctions. I also noticed that she doesn't capitalize I, they're all lowercase. And when she used dialogue up here, she shakes no, or she doesn't really speak the words. So it's not in quotes, it's just capitalized here. So it stands out as the gesture, and then also sort of the message that comes there. And then the repetition of sometimes. Sometimes the dead appear in my kitchen. Sometimes she laughs. I also noticed in the conjunction, the coordinating conjunction, and is used with the symbol. And this is kind of a pretty mark here, this ampersand. Is that how you say it, ampersand? It's much more lovely to see this mark, this symbol, eyes and sucks. And I noticed that there's like this nice make and cake and shake, enough eggs, kind of just like really methodical, like a lot of alliteration, but also some assonance, so some sounds with the vowels and sounds with the S. Sometimes she laughs and claps, like the S sounds come here too, which makes it feel really musical. And so I like those kinds of things when I write, just noticing her craft and the way that she creates sound in here. So there's a lot there. I don't always read every poem this closely, but these are a lot of the things I notice right away when I read. And so I've spent a little bit of time talking you through it, but these are things that just kind of happen automatically in my head. So Glenda has a poem here, Reading My Father, and I'm not going to read her poem just yet. I just want to kind of the mentor poem here and see where that takes me today. So sometimes the dead appear in my kitchen. I feel my grandmother's hand patting mine when I make cake. Her head shakes no when I add enough eggs or too much butter. And this, so I see this kitchen ghost is sitting a specific place and then something that happens there. So the memory is really connected to the place there. And it looks like Glenda has kind of gone to reading hers, a place of reading. Sometimes the dead just stand at my, and then, oh, the other thing I noticed is that she has this like flashback and then she like moves into the future, into the present. Sometimes the dead just stand in my office when the emails glare, when the boss needs one. So it's like from the past right into the present, which I think is really cool. So I'm going to actually make a duplicate. So I can see, keep the mentor text next to mine when I write. So I don't know if this is all still something that you can see. So let me just pause for a second. Okay. So I'm going to scroll down to where I'm going to start writing, and I like to write just like directly into the text box. So there it is. And I've written here before, so my information comes up, but I'm just going to start there. And so now I'm going to give myself only 15 minutes. So I'm going to actually start my timer right now and see what I can do in 15 minutes. So Kitchen Ghosts, Crystal's poem is set in the kitchen, and I feel like I could write a poem about my mother here. She's not dead yet, but what we're estranged, and it's sort of like I carry her ghost with me. My father has died, and I don't think I would call it a kitchen ghost. He's not there with me, but he is sort of a ghost that I carry with me in other places. Maybe the front porch, or also kind of like Glenda when I'm reading. I could think about someone famous who's passed, but that's kind of not staying with me right now. And I think this one with the kitchen ghost and my mother kind of stays with me. So I think I'm going to go with that today. And I'm going to borrow Crystal's title just for now to help me. And I'm going to borrow her first words too, because I'm going to see where that takes me if I can start with sometimes, right? And so now that I have this first line, I don't think that the dead appear to me in my kitchen. I don't think that she thinks she comes to me in the kitchen. It's not a place that I have that memory. Okay, so I'm going to go with keyboard ghosts. Because I wrote a little bit about my mother and her typing yesterday, and I'm also looking at my hands right now. So I think I'm going to go with this. Sometimes the dead appear to me on my keyboard. I see my not yet dead mother's hands. In my veins when I type. When I type. When I type. H. Yeah, it's something like that. Like I think her bruised wrist. Okay, so now I'm going to like not look at the Crystal's poem anymore because I can't really stick with it. I think it's something else is happening as I'm thinking about it. Yeah, I think it, okay, her bruised, like it's the top of the hand, her bruised. Okay, so I'm gonna, so this is what sometimes I do, and I think like parts of the hand. Like I need words sometimes, so I need this, I'm looking at like this part right here, so maybe that's it. I need the carpals and metacarpals and phalange, like I need those words. So I'm going to go back to my poem. Okay. What is the bruised carpals, blood vessels? Yeah, so that's what it is on my keyboard, in my veins when I type. So this is not really, I didn't mean veins, carpals. When I type, I'm going to change the H to S so I can have that sound when I type S. When I type carpals, when I type S. When I type S, maybe that's good, I don't know. Her bruised, what are those parts? This part of the hand, I need something like, what is it? Back, it's this back of the hand. What do we call the back of something, or the that skin? Yeah, her bruised backhand. I guess that, her bruised backhand. Yellow, purple. Oh, I'm going to use the ampersand. Yellow and purple from IVs. Her, I'm thinking about like washing dishes and her chapped hand, her chapped knuckles, reddened. Hands from soapy. Oh, I'm going to name the kind. So she's like from Comet. Yeah. From Comet scouring, from Comet scouring. Like her bruised backhand, yellow and purple from IVs, her chapped knuckles reddened from Comet scouring. Maybe I'm going to try sometimes. Or from comet scouring, or chapped knuckles, reddened from comet scouring, or I don't know, there's something here I have to think about a little bit more. Her chapped knuckles, reddened from comet scouring, remind me of the hands. Sometimes she watches me side-eyed as I write, judging my words, my truth, judging my truth. She speaks in silence, in silences. When she speaks in silences, she speaks in the silent spaces between keystrokes. In the white spaces. Her story. Okay, so this is kind of interesting. I'm thinking like her story. Oh, I get it. Okay, I'm thinking. She asks, for me to move her story from the white spaces to the gray aerial thought. Sometimes dead, not yet dead. Just want to be heard. She stands, never sits. In my office. Watching her home. Just 2 minutes left for my Okay, so I have like 2 minutes left and I'm not sure. This is like taking a turn here. It's kind of interesting. First, I think I'm gonna try, okay, I noticed that I can keep my capital I here. I'm not gonna take over Crystal Wilkinson's lowercase I. I'm gonna leave that for hers because I borrowed so much else of her poem, of her writing and her ideas. So I'm gonna leave that there, but I'm gonna give this a read through and see where this has gone. I've tried to keep the lines pretty parallel in their meter. And I've tried some of the enjambment and I've tried a little bit of the repetition of sometimes. And so I'm going to see how this sounds. Sometimes the dead appear on my keyboard. I see my not yet dead mother's hands in my carpals when I type S for bruised backhand, yellow and purple from IVs. Her chapped knuckles reddened from comet scouring remind me of the hands that were never enough. Sometimes she watches me side-eyed as I write, as I type, judging my truth. She speaks in silences, in silence, space, in silent spaces, silent. Silent. She speaks in silence. She speaks in the silence between space bars and keystrokes. She asks me, there's my minutes. Okay, there's my 15 minutes. She asked me to move her story from the white spaces to the gray Arial font. Interrupting my flow. Sometimes the dead, not yet dead, just want to be heard. I don't know that she just wants to be heard. She just wants, I don't know, there's something here. My time's up, so I'm just gonna leave it. She stands, never sits in my office, wanting her poem. When I have just 2 minutes left for mine. When the words I want are hijacked by hers. By her haunting. Back to the keyboard ghost things. Okay, that's good enough. I'm done. All right, that's it. So here's sort of what, the takeaway from here is, I want you to see the struggle and I want you to hear my thinking. There's, of course, lots more was happening than what I can actually, share with you because I was trying to think and write. But it is something different when you're trying to show or make visible the kind of decisions that you make as a poet that are really intuitive. But when you're trying to teach other people, sometimes it's helpful just to illuminate the process and the sort of choices and the decisions. And then the timer is just a way of not letting it have to be perfect. And for me, this might be a poem I come back to and revise. And it might be something that just stays like this. And the only way we can decide what we want to revise or come back to and what we want to stay is if we have lots of poems to choose from and when it comes time to doing that. So I'm going to ask you to try several of the poems that are in this open write prompt. And I definitely want you to do at least one of these sort of recordings to see what happens. And so you could hear that I was kind of surprised by where this took, where this went. And for me, the most surprising thing was that, white spaces, I would want to change that. So here, what surprised me is that, like, I think she's always in the white spaces of my poem. Sometimes she's in the typing, like yesterday I wrote about her, but she's always, in the spaces around my thinking. She's always sort of present and hovering. And she wanted her. And I think sometimes she just won't let me be so that I can write without her hovering, So that's a lot of stuff right there. And, you can, again, this became personal because I chose to write about something personal, but this could have also been, a famous person or an author. It can take on a different vibe. So, okay, so thanks for witnessing my writing process today.